Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Why romantic relationships are unsustainable. Yeah, I know I'm going there on Valentine's Day, but I really have to say this. Because one thing, it's cool to have, that one day out of the year where, men will bring the flowers, bring the candy, do a whole bunch of stuff. And maybe some men to get something in return. Maybe the woman actually act like she's interested in sex with them for one day out of the year. But I'm being sarcastic. She probably give him some on his birthday too. So anyway, right, why romantic relationships are unsustainable. The reason why I want to talk about that, because when you really look at relationships out here, many breakups and divorces come down to a woman not feeling like her man is romantic enough. And it's deeper than just bringing a woman flowers and even telling her she's beautiful. In Western culture, when you break down romance, it's nothing but lust. It's nothing but just that hot sex. And that's cool. That's cool. All the relationships need that. But you can't have a relationship based just on that passion, which is what a lot of women do. Not so much as men. The reason why is we have to pay for all of that romance. We have to pay for those romantic getaways and those flowers and all of that. So, yeah, we might get something out of it, but we're the ones who got to work that overtime to afford that getaway to the islands or something. Or we're the ones who got to be real creative to, get that, surpriser or something. Or get that, like, diamond just to show our quote-unquote love. Yeah, so we're more practical about it. But many women, if they don't feel like that they're getting that romance, they're ready to go. In fact, as I've said in other videos, you talk to divorce attorneys, they'll tell you they're being put on retainer a couple years before, papers are actually filed. And the reason why, and it's the same thing with women. He's not romantic enough. He's not doing all this. Never mind, he's doing everything else. And even Malcolm X talked about it in the autobiography of Malcolm X. He talked about that. He said it. In fact, he's the first person I read who said that Western romance and Western culture is nothing but lust. And he said, how's a man going to feel like doing all that? He's tired from work. And see, here's the thing. Here is the thing. You can't sustain a relationship based on just that. Now, people will say, oh, yeah, that's common sense. Well, who's saying that? There are several women out there, especially. If you tell them you broke up, not because the man wasn't taking care of his responsibilities, not because he wasn't providing, not because he wasn't protecting, not because he wasn't putting a roof over your head, but because of that spark. Women ready to shoot. The women like, oh, okay. And I'm just like, wait a minute. Now, I know it's a part of it, but there's so many other parts. You can't sustain anything based on that. That's the bottom line. You can't sustain a relationship on that because, see, here's what happens. The man and woman meet, right? And there's probably some spark at the beginning, some passion at the beginning. But keep in mind something. They're not living together at the time. So every time they see each other, it's under the best of circumstances, especially in cases where there might be some distance between them. You only time y'all going to get together is when y'all having fun. You doing fun things together. So of course there's a spark in that. The woman, she's not worried about her bills at the time when she's out with that guy. She's not worried about her kids if she has some. She's not worried about that. She's with that guy having fun, and fun of course includes sex. So she's totally out of like the responsibilities of everyday life. And then you have so much fun, you think it could go a little bit further, right? You think it could go a little bit further. So y'all either move in together or get married, something like that. All of a sudden, other things come into the picture. All of a sudden, where y'all might still have a little bit of fun, but then y'all have to run a household together. Because you start getting into the business of it, the business of relationships. All of a sudden, it's one thing when y'all having that good hot sex, and you getting up and all of that, and y'all still in that glow. But it's another thing when you seeing that person at their worst. And when I say their worst, men, they seeing the woman without that makeup on, and the man, shoot, he ain't gonna be as romantic. Shoot, that dude farting and stuff. You might see those. You might actually see what his toes look like. You'd be like, oh shoot. And plus, that's what I just said was more the fun aspect. but think about it. All of a sudden, y'all have to think about bills. All of a sudden, you have to think about work. And see, all of a sudden, when y'all see each other on dates and all of that, oh yeah, y'all in y'all best mood. Y'all, dude come to pick up the woman, and he's all fired up, he's showered and stuff. But it's quite different when that man's coming home and he all sweaty from a hard day's work, and all he want to do is sit in front of a TV with a beer. And he done put up with some bullshit on his job, and most likely. He don't want to get as frisky then. He might not even feel like it. He might want to just come home and take a nap. And then, you get together. You dealing with possibly kids. You dealing with in-laws. You dealing with a whole lot. Say all of a sudden that romance part takes back seat. And all then too, that's just the one part. Then you got to start thinking about other things. It's one thing if y'all just getting together for sex, but all of a sudden y'all gotta start thinking, well, wait a minute, what's this dude's religious beliefs? Because it's funny, many people don't ask that at during that dating phase. They might never have that conversation. One thing I found with a lot of people, they don't have deep conversations when it's just sex. They're just a romance. They just on that feel good. You don't really know how they really feel about stuff politically or economically. You don't know what their money spending for philosophy is, because even the way you spend money, that's a philosophy. If you had one person got an abundance mindset, another person got a poverty mindset, that's a big issue. And then y'all talking about coming together, and you have maybe a woman who wants to spend her money like crazy, and then the man who is all about saving. Yeah, he had money for all the dates and stuff, but it's business now. You trying to save up for stuff. So you got to start looking into all of those things. You got to start paying attention to all of those things. And see, romance can't sustain that. Now, what's best is a balanced relationship. It gotta have some romance. Let me just make that clear. A relationship gotta have some passion. Sex is the glue that really keeps people together on many levels. Like if there's a problem or the sexual relationship degrades, usually that you headed for divorce. So let me be clear. You can't ignore the romance part. All I'm saying is you can't base an entire relationship on it, because you're going to be in trouble. Because y'all might be having hot sex, but if those lights get turned off, you're shit out of luck. So the best relationship is a balanced one, a sustainable one. You got to have both the romance in it, but you also got to be pragmatic. And on another level, y'all got to be at a point where y'all just like being around each other when it's not about sex. See, a lot of people, they get so caught up in the romance. If they take out the sex part, they take out all those romantic good feelings. You might not like the person, and that's what a lot of women find out when they deal with some men. And it's like, yeah, he laying that good dick to him and everything, but then you find out the hard way. This person ain't somebody you would hang out with otherwise. And men too. What I always say, she had a fat ass though. How many men have found out the hard way? Yeah, she had a fat ass, but it was nothing else she was bringing to the table. Because, let's be real. Our version of romance is just some hot sex. But sometimes, hey, that's not enough. Because you gotta look at several angles. Yeah, you gotta have a romance in there. But then, like I said, you gotta be able to be around each other. And sex isn't in the picture. Like, y'all gotta be able to just sit there and just talk. Just chill. Have fun with each other. It can't be a situation y'all get together just for sex and then y'all doing your own thing. There's the business aspect. The household is a business. And especially if you bring children into it. Shoot, you got your own mini nation. Y'all gotta have a division of labor. Who's gonna do what? How y'all gonna pay bills? Y'all gotta have a philosophy there. If y'all, whatever religious philosophy, y'all gotta be on the same accord. Because if you got, even if in the same denominations and stuff, some people make it work, but that's a point of conflict. Y'all gotta, for a relationship to be sustainable, it has to be very pragmatic. You gotta be thinking like years in advance. You gotta think, do I like this person? Am I gonna like this person during the days I'm not gonna want to have sex with them? Because you get tired of it. I don't care how good the Pandani is. Men, we start looking. And women, quiet as it's kept. They probably out there more. They just better at not getting caught. And there's many a woman who does that. They'll get some guy and the sex ain't all that. But then they'll get some youngin' or somebody on the side who's knocking them out. And they cool with it. So, it was like, look, all I'm saying, ultimately is nothing wrong with romance. Let me make that clear again. But it has to be in balance with everything else. Because romance by itself is not sustainable. And really, I'm going to leave y'all with this, because I always remember what this old head told me back when I was 15 about relationships. And I've said this in another video, and I'll say it here. You got to have a lot of stuff. You got to have tolerance. You got to have responsibility, acceptance, forgiveness. You got to be able to live with some personality traits that, it might be tough to. Because no matter how cool that person is, they're going to have something that, might go against something, or it's something you ain't really feeling. But you got to ask yourself, all right, well, how long can I tolerate this? Is this a deal breaker? You got to look at all those things. And not just the romance part. And that for the women, not just the romance part. For the men, not just how much she can back that thing up. So, anyway, right? That's it for today. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.